the wrong thing for reals. There we go.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal. I am one of your hosts. I am Rachel, and then we have...
You have Kaz. Look at Kaz.
Oh, my gosh.
Right now.
What a week.
Yeah. I can't believe it's already been a whole week since we were live and on location.
Mm-hmm. And
I am having withdrawals.
Yeah, me too, because I keep thinking, fuck, I just want to go back to Hinsdale, but spend like the whole weekend there. Or
Wildwood is the one for me. Hinsdale, if I didn't ever go back, I'd be like, whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Wildwood, I'm like, I need to go back.
Maybe it's because we were all old people that night and went to bed early.
I mean, we had so much happen, so it's not like we didn't, but you're right. I mean, we were all like, oh, we've got to do all this.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Next time we do back to back, we're going to have like a nap time. Yes. So then we can get back up and start doing stuff. We're not like, I'm just going to rest my eyes.
Said we're going to have a nap time. Somebody said yes, and it wasn't me. I heard that.
Hello? Give us a thumbs up if you want a nap. I'm still waiting for that mystery thumbs up.
It's got to be an iPhone thing. Oh my Lord. But today's episode is not about our inability to stay awake all night because, we're old. But it's about one of our favorite locations, which is Blang Pioneer Village in Keene, Ontario, which is, I guess, a little south of Peterborough. I guess it's a little south. I don't know. It's not very far, but it's in Keene. Tiny little town in the middle of nowhere. Just like the village.
It's a really great place. I highly recommend you go there if you have never been there, because it's so fun.
It is. And they have so many awesome
haunted.
Yes. They have so many awesome events and stuff, including, a public paranormal investigation.
Yes.
But that was sold out, sorry guys. Well, the first one sold out. Second one is not till October, so keep that in mind. But yeah, and they got other events like Christmas by Candlelight. They've got Apple Fest. They've got their transportation show in July, which we might be going to because I'm trying to convince Jay to put his car in there so I can spend all day there.
Nice.
From 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Yeah. So yeah, that's my summer plan.
Mm-hmm.
But no. It's been around since August of 1967.
What?
Surprisingly, it's
I
been
didn't
around.
realize it was wow, that's awesome.
Yeah, it has been around since 1967. Pretty cool. But they have how many buildings does it say? It's 25-acre site.
I think they have 30 or over 30, I think.
I could count in the book here, but it's gonna take some time. But the only thing original to the site that has never moved is the grist mill. So the mill of the very front when you drive in. Now the miller's cabin is also original to the property, but it has been moved though. So you got to remember it's been moved a bit to the back. It used to be closer to the front, but they moved it to the back when they opened. I guess when they opened up the museum or something, or when the roadway was being put in, they had to move it because it was in the road allowance. What were you doing? You just went black.
What just happened? What is going on with my thing? I don't know. It's an iPhone thing, clearly, but I just became a shadow figure. It's times like this, I wish that it recorded both at the same time.
Yeah.
Simply because I have no idea what just happened there.
I don't know either.
I became a ghost for a moment, and then I was back.
Oh my gosh.
Does it surprise me in the house that I am in right now with the background?
No,
it does not surprise me. We'll get to that. Stay tuned.
Oh my God. Anyways, I just realized that I don't have my lights on in my room because that's where I am. We're using the sunlight in this light, and I should probably put it on because I might go black soon.
Yeah.
One
The
second.
sun is
Gonna
going
dis-
down.
oh my gosh.
Just disappear. I'll just talk amongst myself. And anyways, what's going on today? I don't know. Oh, the Pope died. Not today. He died last weekend when we were investigating a haunted house in which I took a trick of
No, Monday.
object. Oh yeah, it was Monday.
Yeah.
So yeah, we were in a haunted house that had an exorcism done, and I had a trigger object of a nun doll, and then the Pope died.
Oops. Totally off topic.
Anyways, yeah,
Totally off topic.
back to Lang's Pioneer Village.
Langs. So it's got so many different types of buildings on the property, and then all of them have their own different story. They were all brought there from like the surrounding area, and we, like the Paranormal Seekers, first investigated there in 2016. It has been 9 years since our first investigation.
Oh.
I mean, it's amazing how fast time freaking flies.
That's awesome.
I know. So 2016 was our first investigation. I had a really poignant experience while we were there. Actually 2, really, kind of. 3 technically.
Oh my god. Easy there, Ryan, with the whole mill story.
Listen, I don't have a mill story. I have a mill burn story. But so when we first, like the team first investigated, we had a handful of buildings. Again, pioneer villages, as much as we'd want to investigate every single building, we can't. Because time does not permit that. We would need like 2 whole days to be there. So when we first went, we investigated the grist mill, Milburn House, Fitzpatrick House, the Keene Hotel, and surprisingly, guest services building. Don't ask. The one where you walk into.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
It did not look like how it does now. Didn't look like that when we walked in. They didn't have a gift shop or anything like that. So those are the 5 buildings that we investigated. Now, I don't remember anything really happening at the mill. Fitzpatrick was a bit interesting because it seemed like Mr. Fitzpatrick was kind of angry with us. Milburn is where I had my experience. The Keene Hotel was just, and guest services is kind of where I picked up a soldier, which we talked about in another podcast, an earlier podcast. What are you doing?
I don't. Whoa! I'm just morphing in and out. Just don't mind me.
You're just, time traveling to
exactly.
And then guest services is also where we had our ghost box running, and you could hear a man and a woman talking to each other, and we were like, we can hear you, and they're like, wait, what? And then they stopped talking. Like,
that's so neat.
Yeah, so let's get into a little bit of history before we go.
Yeah.
So let's just start with the mill, because it's the farthest away, and sometimes it's, it doesn't give a lot, but it's got a really interesting background. Find the fucking thing. Here we go. Okay. Well, I'm just going to read from my notes because my notes are somewhat different than their notes. So, it was constructed by a man named Thomas Short, 1825. It was used to do flour, so it was a flour grist mill, and it still does it today. Like, they still produce some flour today. It's pretty cool. It did catch fire at one point. I don't even know if I've got that in here. No, I don't have it in here. I'm trying to find it. Give me a second. There it is. Look at that. I opened it up to the right page. Someone was helping me out. All right. So from 1825 to the 1870s, it operated. In 1870s, it was destroyed by a fire. So literally, and they do have pictures of it. It is literally just the outer shell of the mill that remained. So they rebuilt it.
Well, I would imagine like the dust of flour mill, it would just go. It could be gone.
Yeah. But in the 1860s, Thomas Short did go bankrupt. But with the mill, They continued to operate under new management.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, fire was in 1896, not 1870s. Something else. What the heck burned down in 1870? Oh, it was on
But
the
there
east
was
side.
two little buildings, and they burned down that were next to it. They had like
Yeah,
off
there was one on
stuff.
the east side, and it burned down apparently. But the
Hmm.
actual like, building burned down in 1896, and that
Now,
was
were there reported deaths, or were they like, no one died? What are you talking about? Even though we know.
no one died. No one died.
Mm.
I have no idea.
I think it's bullshit. I think they were like, what? No one died in the
Literally,
fires.
there was so many different things. Like obviously, it's a mill. It's a working mill. There's lots of um, owners, lots of people who work there. When it was restored, it continued to be an operating mill until 1956.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there was a man named William Jameson. He worked at the mill. One day while he was working, his coat got caught in the main shaft and sucked him in. And he broke his arm in two places, but he survived.
I was gonna say that's pretty brutal.
Yeah. So, pretty much that's it. Literally, that's literally it. One of the miller's daughters, Daisy, she lived at the mill between the ages of 9 and 16. So I'm going to assume she lived in the miller's cabin.
Mm-hmm.
Because why would there be a little girl living in the mill? So we have that. Let me see. Do I have anything else about? Well, Thomas Short. I have some information about him. He so the guy who built the mill, he immigrated to Canada at a young age with his parents. He ran into business troubles in the 1860s. Oh, you just disappearing again.
I know. Oh, I'm freezing.
He was actually the bursar. I have no idea what that is. For the Central Prison for 10 years. His family then moved to London, Ontario, where he then became the bursar of the London Lunatic Asylum. So he went from
Wow.
being a mill owner to some bursar for a loony bin back in the day.
Okay.
He also owned a boat, so a steamer boat called the Autonomy, and he launched that in Keene in 1853, which would be on Rice Lake. He was a warden. He was an MPP. He had 6 children altogether.
Ooh.
Yeah, married twice, 6 children, and he died from inflammation of the bowels.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
No, so that's pretty much Thomas. So we've had a few things in the mill, like nothing crazy. We've had some stick figures on the SLS camera. We've heard noises. Ryan's got a mill story.
We're not asking the fucking mill story. The good thing is he's like gone past the mill story now because we've had a few other things happen, but Jesus Christ.
TLDR, too long, don't read. Ryan had an interaction with the SLS camera and a person on the 3rd floor, and his mind was blown.
Yeah. I mean, it's a pretty cool story, but we're not talking about it.
No, we'll get him on one day and he can discuss his mill stories. We're just going to call
Jesus.
it Ryan's Story Hour.
Oh, Lord. Hour. Let's face it. It's going to be a few.
Yeah.
So the last time we were at the mill, we were doing a public investigation and we were setting up. It was you, me, Kathy, and Allison, and we were in the lower level. You were setting up the DVRs and we were just standing there talking, and we heard so loud. Like, and Alice and I looked at each other and we both said at the same time, did you just hum or whistle? We have no idea what it was. And we went outside and looked, there's no one there. And then later that night, I had a group in there and we had a lot of voices coming through the spirit box. And that some of the people in the group had their own Ovilus and an app going, and it was all correlating all 3 different pieces of equipment, which was beautiful. And long story short, the person communicating with us, I can't remember their name, but worked there. His information was in the book that you have left there. He talked about the fire. He mentioned something else. I think he mentioned his daughter by name. And then he told us to go downstairs. And so we went downstairs and we heard a very loud whistle again. And the 4 of us that were standing there were all like, what was that? And I caught it on my GoPro and they caught it on their thing too, because they later sent it to us. So very interesting. Usually the mill, like you said, is like
It's hit or miss. It's hit or miss, but there's stuff there.
Well,
Like,
the 2nd and 3rd floor is very interesting.
so like some of the reports that people have seen is they've seen lights turning on and off, like on in the mill when nobody's in there. Equipment moves and sways like somebody's working with it and nobody's there. And there's also been reports of people seeing a shadow figure or a shadow of a man or man standing in the 3rd floor windows that face towards the parking, like the side walls are there. So that's what people have seen. Now, I don't even know. It wasn't the last investigation, public event, but like I think it would have been one before. I was in the mill with the music box and it was asking questions and had the music box was activating, if it's like we were asking it to use the music box to activate if they were the correct answers or whatnot. And I remember communicating with William West, and William West was one of the people who is said to have set up the mill in the 1800s. So yeah. So we'll post that video. Awesome. So everyone can see that. But yeah.
And isn't there a sort of someone either falling from the 3rd floor to the 2nd floor or hanging?
I don't know.
I thought that was the story.
It might be. Somebody might have.
I may have just made that up. It's true now. It's what happened. I don't know why I thought that was the story. Oh.
I don't know.
I've been telling people. No.
Could have been. There could have been something that happens. It wouldn't be surprising. And you also have to remember too, is like back then, if you died by suicide, they didn't say anything. They're just like, oh, you died. That was it. You died.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird.
So yeah, that's the mill. That's the original building on the property. Dun, dun, dun. All right. Let's go to what do I want here? Let's go to the Fitzpatrick house. I'm just doing it like we're doing this. We're starting.
Yeah.
Patrick next. We're going backwards. All right. Gonna get my trusty book here because I'm gonna read you. If I can find it.
Now, if anyone's watching this on YouTube, you are in the Fitzpatrick house. That's your background.
But because Google likes to switch everything, it's backwards. So technically where I would be right now would be where the front door is. And the fireplace should be on this side, and these 2 rooms should be on this side, which means that should also be on this side. Yeah. So, okay. So, the Fitzpatrick house was built by Michael Fitzpatrick. He was of Irish descent. He immigrated from Ireland in 1831. It was not until 1848 that he and his wife Susan purchased the land for this house. In 1861, the census listed that Michael and Susan had 8 children in this house.
Wow. Like you cannot appreciate how small these places are until you go in them and go in them with a group of people.
Yeah.
Let's say, I don't know what, 8 or 10 people. And that is a challenge. And then you realize people lived in there with their 10,000 children.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And they didn't murder them all. I don't know how that happened.
So as you can see in this big open space here is the kitchen. This room behind my head, this one right here, that's white, is a master bedroom or a room on the 1st floor, the comings and goings room. And this room is a parlor room. It's not a living room yet.
as F, that
So,
room.
so yeah, if you know back in the day, the parlor rooms were where you had funerals and your wakes, and the dead body was laid out for everyone to view. That's why it was called a parlor room. So, little history lesson here, people. In the 1900s, when funerals became more of a commercial thing where you paid for it and you got embalmed, all that kind of stuff, people stopped having funerals and wakes in their houses, and more your eyes, your eyes, and more people started having them in funeral homes. So they needed to change the room to something a little more happier. So instead of being the parlor room, it became the living room because we're living in there now. You were dead. Anyways, it's true facts. It's facts. Anyways, the upstairs of this house, so like above here, has 2 bedrooms. One was for the boys, and the other, it says upstairs are 2 bedrooms, one for the boys and the other for the grandmother who lived with the family. And then, because girls like a large utility area also served as a sleeping space for the girls. They didn't get a bedroom. They just got a utility.
No, because what is happening with my goddamn phone? Yeah, why would girls need a room?
No, never.
Grandma needs a room, but not the girls. And how many girls were there? Maybe that's why, because it's a much bigger space. So they're like, the 17 girls we have can just all lay around on the floor.
I have. Where am I here?
Wasn't it like 2 boys and the rest were girls?
I think so.
Who knows? I'm just making up that people threw themselves off of second floor things in the mill. So
1, 2,
who knows?
3, 4, 5, 6. So they had 8 children. Yeah, you're right. 6 were girls. 3 were boys. That means they had 9 children.
Oh. What? Unless one of the girls was you're thinking is the grandmother.
Yeah, but one of their boys didn't make it very long. He was only 4 when he died. So
in the house? Did he die?
That's a good 1852. What did I say? 1848. Yeah, he would have died in the house. Holy shit! I just found that out.
Dun, dun, dun. You heard it here first, folks. Wow.
And things you find out after you read things.
Yeah.
More than likely would have died in the house at the age of 4. That's sad.
That's very sad.
So in the Fitzpatrick, do I have anything written down? Oh, in the Fitzpatrick house, like former staff, I don't even know if they still work there, used to say they would see a black orb from the corner of the ceiling in the master bedroom come down. That was what was reported to us. And like I said, when I've been in there, Mr. Fitzpatrick has been very
he's a bit of a dick.
in my house. He is Irish. He liked his drink. Women were women. Yeah.
I know, like, usually when we go in there, we get like get out.
We've challenged
leave.
him times, not provoke, not bully. We've challenged his thoughts and his ideas on women. And us asking questions and prying into his business. I'm pretty sure he wasn't thrilled about that. The last time I went in there, he seemed to be a little better. I guess maybe he's getting used to us now. He probably sees us and goes, oh, fuck, there they are again.
Yeah, here they come again. Yeah. But I know one of the really cool pieces of like audio we ever got was Ryan was upstairs with some people and he had like his Spirit Talker app. And I went up there and as I got to the top of the stairs, I'm like, ooh, I feel all tingly. And the K2 meter went crazy. And then his Spirit app came up with, am I on video? And I was recording when I came up. Crazy. And then we had a whole conversation about a former place we used to go to that had a very notorious, it was a jail at one time, and it had a very notorious criminals stay there. And Ryan, of course, talking about that. And then same thing, it came up and it said they were part of a cult. It was satanic. What? Like it was, first of all, I don't know how they would know that,
Yeah.
but it was very strange. Like,
Hilarious.
so yeah.
That's hilarious.
But I would say that's like a so-so place. Like it's
Yeah.
very hit and miss. But
It is.
you can tell when he's in a bad mood. Oh,
Yeah.
Mr. Fitzpatrick
does not hide his feelings.
Mm-mm. I feel like he's usually in that parlor room. I do not like that parlor room at all.
That's
I do
probably
not
where
like
he
it.
hangs out, because everybody's in the kitchen and nobody can get into that parlor room because it's roped
Mhm.
off. Roped off. So, all right. Where shall we go to next? Milburn House? Let's go to Milburn.
Yes. We're gonna save the best till last.
Of course we are. Like, there's other places. How about we talk about this? There's other places on, let's just say on campus. Tell where I work. There's other places on the property that are also quite active. We do have the Duro Town Hall. We do a lot of stuff in there as well. The doors were open on its own. Someone has said they've seen somebody in there before, like an apparition. The room just has this presence. But you have to remember, it was a town hall. A lot of heavy decisions were made, voting. It was a meeting place, a schoolhouse at one point, like all this kind of stuff. So all of that energy is in there. We've had some interesting interactions in there, but would I say it's the most haunted building on the property? No. The Fitzpatrick house has more in it, in my opinion. But there is also the schoolhouse there. Is also said that they can hear the sounds of children and seeing people seated inside when no one's in there. But yeah, so those are some other buildings. But the Milburn House is like my favorite building, one of my favorites, I should say. So I will read you the Milburn story. Nope, that's not the Milburn story. That's the Fife cabin. That's a whole.
I have not been in that one.
Because in all honesty, that Fife cabin has a connection to another place we could possibly potentially be investigating.
Ooh, I haven't been in the Fife cabin, I don't think.
It's just a one-room cabin. It's like,
yeah, I don't think I've been in there.
It's like the Thomas house. That's the Miller's cabin.
Oh.
I'm reading. All right. So they compare the Milburn house and the Fitzpatrick house because they're built around the same time, but the Milburn house is more luxurious in the terms of 1800s.
Yes, well, that stove is like an eyesore, or not an eyesore, like a thing to see.
Yeah. So Thomas Milburn, he is the grandson of one of the earliest settlers in Smith Township. So Smith is, I think, just a little north and up from Keene. But he purchased the house in 1877, and the house at that time was 43 years old. I don't even think I have that information for that far back. But anyways.
Wow.
The following year, so in 1878, he married Sarah Jane Mann, and then they had 5 children. So they had 3 girls and 2 boys. So they had Margaret, Abigail or Abby, and they had Stella Mary, who they called Maggie. And then they had George Noble, who went by his middle name Noble. And then they had Elmer James. Now, being the 1900s, because they got married in 1878, George Noble was born, or Noble, we'll just call him Noble. He was born in 1885. So when the First World War hit, he was literally in his 30s, like early 30s. He went off, he enlisted, and he went off and he fought in the war. And unfortunately, during the Battle of Vimy Ridge, he was killed in action. They're gone.
Oh dear.
Yeah. Apparently in 1921, when they were living in that house, they had a servant. So I don't know. This person,
that's pretty fancy.
Their name was Sam Decker. I don't know why I have this information, but this is the information I have. And then in 1891, they also had a domestic helper, so also known as a maid or a servant. And that girl's name was Emma. So now when we go back now, we have two other names we could figure out.
Ooh.
Yeah. So when we went to investigate the first time, me and Allison and another investigator who's no longer with our group were up on the second floor of the Milburn house, and we were sitting on the floor of the main master bedroom up there because there's only 2 rooms up there, and we were doing a ghost box session. We were asking questions about what, like, where did you fight, you know, what was your you're blinking again, but anyways, and as we were asking these questions, remember, we're in the dark, it's dark outside. I look up, and in this room there is an open closet. It has no door. And I look up and I look directly into that closet, and what do I see? I see some dude standing there
Wow.
looking back at us. And this literally lasted for like 3 seconds, but it was enough for my brain to be like, and it took a mental snapshot, right? So what I remember is he was standing in the closet. I could see from like his shoulders up, broad shoulders. I knew the jacket was tan and it was tweed, like it was that thick material. Blonde
Right.
hair, blue eyes, baby faced. And he was smiling because he was happy.
Wow. That's a
Yeah,
lot of detail.
I know. Surprisingly, for someone like me. Anyways,
No, but
but-
just to like see that and be
yeah.
like, what?
And I remember it wasn't like tan, like, you know, like it was like that yellowy brown, like old tweedy tan, like military tan.
Mm.
When you think about it. Didn't know who the heck it was. Was like, who the fuck? Oh my god, I saw somebody. Continued our ghost box session, finished our investigation, left the building, didn't think anything of it. Drove me nuts because I was like, who the fuck was that? Right?
Yeah.
A couple years later, we always do their historic, or their All Hallows Eve event. And during the event, we kind of wander, right? Like we take a break from the table, we wander around. And Allison and I, we wandered into the Milburn house because we're like, oh, we got to say hi, right? We walked in and we were the only ones in there except for the volunteer. And we were talking with the volunteer about, you know, who we were and how we investigated and all that. And they were like, oh, you know, I wish I could find the book for you because we have a whole history book with pictures of the family and all that. And we're like, oh, that sucks. She goes, let me just take a look one more time. She literally walks around to the back and comes back like 3 seconds later. She goes, I found the book. And we're like, okay. She's like, I haven't been able to find this book forever. Oh, okay. So she hands us the book. We're looking through it. And then I look at this family picture of the Milburns and I was like, holy crap. That's the dude I saw in the closet.
Oh.
Yeah, it was noble. So I do have that photo that we'll post as well on like our social media and stuff. But yeah, it was noble. Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
I don't find much happens in that place.
No, it's very.
No.
It's very.
The only, like, the granny's room or whatever you want to say in the back,
Mhm.
which I guess would be basically like the comings and goings room, that has a weird feeling. And
Mhm.
last time I ran a group, 2 separate groups took pictures in that room, and they were both really weird. Now,
Mhm.
one of the pictures, I still am a bit convinced the guy had accidentally switched the camera view around and was taking
Yeah.
a picture of himself. But then someone else from a totally different group who was like pretty savvy with his thing took a picture, and with his
Mhm.
thing, I mean his camera when I say that, took a picture and got a very similar looking picture. So I don't know. And then fast forward to the All Hallows Eve. Remember the volunteer that was there? And she's like,
Mhm.
2 of my lanterns got thrown across the room
It-
and
it glass
smashed.
everywhere. Yeah, I remember that.
So I don't know, but I go into that place and I'm like, whatever, other than the really amazing stove. Like
Yeah.
this is a massive, it was considered like a big deal to have this
Yeah.
stove.
So Allison also got
Um,
pictures in Grandma's room, the Cummings and Goings room, when we first did.
right.
And
So
they'll be posted as well. But she got this gigantic orb, and she did their 3 to 5 rule. So she took 3 to 5 photos in a row without moving,
mhm.
and it's not in the first one; it's in the second one, but it's not in the third one, right? So
Amazing.
what is it, right? So it's really cool. But when she took that picture, when she was snapping things with
Mhm.
camera flash, the one with the orb, she says she clearly remembers seeing an older lady sitting in the chair, and she blinked, right, and snapped another one, and she was gone. So,
Mm.
right, so it's kind of interesting to
Yeah.
get that kind of like seeing something and then capturing something on film. Not exactly what she was seeing, but
Mhm.
we don't know how that works.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird house.
It is.
And again, because we don't have a direct line to the spirit realm to be like, okay, we're gonna need like a granny sitting in the chair for this one. Like we have no idea when stuff's gonna happen, if it's gonna happen. So sometimes you go into the place and there's nothing, and other times you go in and all hell is breaking loose, and you're like, what's going on today? So who knows?
Almost. I don't know what the hell I'm clicking here, but fuck you, performance issue. There we go. Okay. Well, last but not least on our list of haunted buildings
Ah,
is Kaz's favorite.
I love this
Keene
building.
Hotel. It is remarkable to see this building and see how it was laid out, and what it was and all that kind of stuff. And I know they just did renovations in it, so it's going to prove a little interesting. But
I
anyways,
can't wait.
I know.
Can't wait.
Okay. So
For those of you who are watching, this is the front foyer of the best place ever.
best place ever. Anyways, so let's go with my notes because I got some interesting stuff. All right. So
Mhm.
the front section that Kaz is currently sitting in was built in the 1830s. The rear wing, so way behind Kaz there, was built in the 1840s.
If you can see, we're back there.
So on the first floor, to the right when you walk in through the door, so where those stairs are, to the right of those, is a bar room that was for men only. There's a waiting room and retiring rooms, a dining room with a large communal table where everyone would sit and eat at, a kitchen, and a bake oven room. So if you were staying at this hotel in the 1830s, you would receive one meal with your lodging, so the price of your room, and then you would receive lodging for your horse.
Excellent.
So on the second floor, you had the salesman room, which included a showroom. So if you were a salesman of the time, you would have your own personal like room with a room that you could have your wares for sale, so you could showcase it. They also had the best room, which would cost you 75 cents a night.
Wow.
It included a double bed with linen, so you got some linen, a stove for heat, and hot water for a bath.
Is that the room that has the little round tub thing in it?
Right at the top of the stairs on like right that yeah.
Yeah.
So then you got the second best room, which is the one beside it. It would cost you 55 cents per night. It had 2 single beds with linen. But you might have to share that room with a stranger.
Okay.
But the linen really sold the deal here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I get a pillowcase, so who cares if there's some weirdo next to me in the bed?
Whatever. All right. And last but not least, you had the flop room, which is the room. Yeah. All you got was a straw tick, which is literally a pillowcase filled with straw.
Yeah.
And it was 10 cents per night. So the traveler would sleep in their clothes, and no linen was provided, and there was no heat source. So you just pray for the best.
You just snuggle to the stranger next to you and hope for the best there.
Oh my God. Anyway, so that's the hotel. Now, this hotel was actually located in Keene, down the street from where it actually is now. And I think it was located pretty much across the street from where that meat place restaurant is. I can't even remember the name of it, but it's good. It was down there.
Sure.
So the owners of this hotel were Martin and Mary Jane Kennelly. They were the innkeepers in 1870. I'm not quite sure who was before that, but I think they're the ones that kind of started that. It was said that Mary never turned anyone away. So everyone was welcomed. So Martin and Mary had 8 children of their own. But it is also,
where did they live?
the fuck if I know. See where people slept back then. I just know the hotel part. They had the back rooms. There's 2 back rooms when you go all the way to the back.
Right. Yeah. Oh, I know that. I know it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Anyway.
that makes sense.
It is said, now I'm probably gonna try to disprove this or debunk this or whatever you want to call it. Their notes say that they also raised Mary's 6 nieces and nephews after their parents were killed in a sleigh accident. Now, when I did my research,
Mm-hmm.
I did find, like when I looked at the census, I found all of the children's names, so I could easily put together who their parents were. So their parents were, Margaret. So this is Mary Jane's sister. So it was Margaret and Michael.
Okay.
Hold on, wait a second here. Yeah, she also married a Kennelly. This is why it's confusing for me. Because their last names are the same, because I'm pretty sure her sister married a brother.
Oh.
Anyways.
Okay.
They all have different death dates. They didn't die in a sleigh accident from the looks of it. I've got Margaret down as dying in 1870 and Michael dying in 1866. So that's a good 4 years difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think a sleigh accident would do that. And Michael died in October and Margaret died in July. So I really don't think you're taking a sleigh out in July.
No.
This is just what I have found. But their children did live with Martin and Mary Jane.
Maybe the parents were just like, fuck these kids. Let's just fake our own death.
You never know. You never know. What did I say?
There's a lot of people living in that house in the back room.
So an 1881 census has these children living with them, which would make sense because Margaret died in 1870 and her husband died in 1866. So at this point, their youngest kid was born in 1866. So she would have been 4.
Okay.
Right? So that would make sense that now both these parents are dead. Where are these kids going to go? Because the oldest one was born in 1854. So this oldest child is not even old enough to take care of a baby, pretty much. Where would they go? They went to live with their aunt and their uncle. Right? Sure. That's probably what it is. They didn't die in a sleigh. I'm probably going to dig into that a little more and see what else I can find. But yeah. No. Sorry. I had to blow that one out of the water because it drives me nuts when information is wrong. But anyways, so pretty much that's the lowdown of the Keene Hotel history-wise. Paranormal-wise, what do I have here? Second floor.
Hold on, I have questions. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Because I apparently am just spewing bullshit information every time I go to this place. Because so far, I'm like 0 for 5 in regards to actually giving the correct information. So, I thought the hotel was other things at some point. I thought it was like a bank. Like it had a bank. And then I thought that there was like a general store. And then there was like a bordello part to it.
Well, there might have been ladies of the night there because there have been sometimes on the SLS, and we've discussed this through Ghostbox and all that, that sexy time happened.
So maybe, okay, so then I only am half lying and I'm like, this place used to be all these other things, and it wasn't. So it was only ever really, yeah, where did I get that information from?
Yeah, it was a hotel, it was a bar, it was a restaurant, it was a barber shop, it was
Okay.
right. So it was a stopping place for stagecoach travelers, right? Like it could have been
Mm.
right, and gosh knows what the ladies were doing in Keene at night. I don't know.
Well, when you
But
have a gentleman's only area, I
yeah,
mean, I get that it was like put your wife to bed and then come down to the bar. But okay,
let her
yeah,
cuddle with that stranger.
exactly.
But yeah, so like my original notes for like when we first investigated literally says Keene Hotel, second floor, bad feelings.
No shit. That
Lights, yeah,
place
lights
is
being
crazy.
tampered with, and the sounds of walking and pacing in the parents' room, which is the one that's at the very back of the house.
Mm.
Very, very back.
So I was just thinking, I'm like, so they would have to have walked through the like riffraff who's sleeping on the floor to get to their area in the back.
No,
However, there were
no.
stairs.
There's stairs in the very back room.
Yes, remember
Mhm.
last time we went there, like we found a hidden staircase or something.
Yeah,
Eh,
there was stairs that go up. Yeah,
yeah, so now I get it. Okay. All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, fuck
But I
that
just
second
can't
floor.
see 16 kids sleeping in that one room at one point. What the?
I don't know. That's why I said it. That's why I was like, hang on a second. That's a
I would
lot of
like to. You
people.
know what? I need to time travel back to this like 1870s period and see for myself.
They're just all hot dogged together. But imagine though, in the
Like
winter
rolling.
months, yes, they
Oh my
look
god!
like you go to a 7-Eleven where
Yes,
they've got the hot dogs on the heater roll thing.
that's
That's what they're
literally
like.
all I can see.
Yeah. But you you would have to stick together to stay warm because it's not like you have
In
a
the winter,
fireplace up there.
can you
Yes.
imagine?
And then the summer they're just like, get the fuck out of here. Go wherever, go lay in
Go sleep out
these
in the grass.
trees.
Yeah.
Exactly. So who knows? But it is a lot of people in and around that time.
Yes.
So then where did the Keene name come? I thought it was Mr. and Mrs. Keene that owned the place.
No, Keene is just the name of the town. That's why they call it the Keene Hotel. The Kennelly. Kennelly's.
Where
Kennelly's. Whatever they're called. I'm pretty sure it's Kennelly. They owned it. Kennelly.
what the every piece of fact I thought I knew is all bullshit, apparently. Because I've been like, Mr. and Mrs. Keene. Great. No wonder they don't talk to me when I go there.
Well, now you know, and now they're going to be like, no wonder why they don't like you when you go.
It's not me they don't like. It
No,
apparently it's Ryan.
it's Ryan. But that's
Let's get to
okay.
that story.
He's our bait. He's our bait, but that's okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, like, when we go to investigate, like, I've investigated the bar room, so the men's only room. I've never really been in that parlor room onto the left when you walk in. Obviously, I've
No.
been to the back because we've sat at that table in the back and done some like ghost box work.
Mhm.
Upstairs, I've been in every room except for the one that's at the top of the stairs on the right, which is your salesman room. I've never really gone in there.
Yeah, that's a weird place.
I think a few times because it was filled with storage,
Mhm.
so it wasn't really like you could look in and see. Um, but I've been to the far back. I've done some work in the middles. Apparently, I have also had some hand on me at some point, which you took pictures of, which we will post so people can see.
Mhm.
They're a little weird, and I didn't feel anything. Didn't even know it was happening. And
No.
then Ryan got scratched.
Well, so what Rachel is referring to. So I have only actually ever been in this building once. Um, Dreamt about it before we got there, and which was very strange.
Yeah.
And what's really weird is I knew that the layout was not necessarily right. And what's his name? Alex was like, well, this is like three buildings that they've like kind of put together so it was a little different at such and such time. And I'm like, what? Which is really strange. So let's just get to the nitty gritty fun stuff. So long story short, Rachel, Kathy, Leanne, and I are upstairs in the far, far back because I have never been there. And I'm like, what? And Ryan shows up and he's like, howdy, everyone. And within like 3 minutes of him being there, he's like, my back really hurts. Have I got something on it? And he lifts his shirt and he has 4 massive
Yeah.
scratches down his back, like fresh, just
It's
starting
red.
to
It's red.
sort
Don't.
of
Yeah.
bead blood. Like it was like, and this is, it was summertime. So he has a t-shirt on. If he had like, not that he was anywhere near a wall, but if he had like scratched himself on the wall, it probably would have ripped his shirt. Like these are deep scratches. So immediately the spirit box blows up and we have voice after voice after voice, and they're talking about the 4 scratches that they've done. Then there's a creepy man's voice that like there's more to come, like it's a really weird thing. And then we didn't see it at the time, but later on I was videotaping the whole time, thank goodness. I pan back from Ryan, and as I pan across Rachel, this really creepy, weird, uh, it's not even a mist. I don't know what to say
Mhm.
it is. It is a very strange, smoky substance, comes over her shoulder, like a hand coming over her shoulder, and morphs into like weird fingers and then a weird face, and then takes off in the direction of Ryan. And then Ryan says, I've just got a really bad headache. And it's funny because you hear a woman go, oh, not a backache, which is really creepy because he got scratched on the back. And then Kathy says, do you have a problem with Ryan? And you can hear this with your own ears. You heard it with your own ears. A woman goes, well, I do and I don't, like so loud. And we laughed, but at the same time, it's very creepy. So then Ryan basically hightails it out of there. He's like, fuck this. And he leaves.
Well, we get down to the first floor.
Yeah, he like books it downstairs. And so we're still up there, but then we start getting a weird vibe like, uh-oh, like the energy up here has really changed. So we all start to wander back down, and all of a sudden I'm in the back of everyone, and all of a sudden something rushes up behind me and I body check you out of the way. So I was like,
Do it.
I could hear, but it was the feeling of something being like right up behind me. I'm like, fuck that. And then we came downstairs and we were standing in the basically the foyer where my thing is that you see behind me. And the K2 meter went fucking mental. I
Yeah, it was
had
going
no
so loud. It
idea.
was making noise. It was like,
It sounded like as if you were in Chernobyl and it was telling you you were dying of radiation. Like it was like
yeah.
so then we put a second one out, thinking the first K2 meter had broken. We put another one out and it did the same thing. And then they both start going on and off at the same time, answering questions.
Yeah.
It was fucking weird.
It was amazing.
And we were like, this is amazing. But then half the people got scared and was like, we need to leave. So, oh, and we also captured stick figures in the Gentlemen's Only Club, which was really cool because one guy was sitting in the corner and it looked like he's lifting a drink to his mouth. And then another man walked through the wall, which there was originally a door there. He comes walking through the door, sits down at a table. So then I sit opposite him and I put my hand out, and this is all on the SLS camera. So I put my hand out and he touched my hand. I didn't feel it. Like, honestly, I didn't feel anything, but Kathy and Alex were like, oh, we can see him is touching you. Then one of them gets up and falls down and is like crawling on the ground like they're drunk.
Typical.
It was great.
They're still having a good time.
Yeah.
But we should
So
also, like, my thing for the hotel is Martin and Mary Jane were obviously very hospital people, and they Mary not turning anybody away, and having all their kids there, they seem to be like the type of person that would help anybody. at any time. Now, saying that, the stuff that we were picking up upstairs might not have anything to be doing with that family. How many people stayed there? How many people did things there, right? Like, you know?
Absolutely. And I mean, if there were women of the night, maybe they weren't there on their own accord either. I don't know. I don't think they would have been necessarily employed by Mr. and Mrs. Keene or whatever their name is.
Hey, you never know. Someone could have paid for services for some lady of the night to accompany them from Kingston to Toronto, right? Like, you don't know. Obviously, that would have been a stop at somewhere along the way from wherever people were coming to wherever they were going, right? So, you know, if you're a man at the time and was looking for companionship,
yeah, exactly.
Just snuggle on your
gonna say, yeah, who knows? Like you said, who knows? And who knows who was in there? There's no record of who stayed. So the energy from them.
I would think that there has to be.
Like a ledger?
Or somewhere that would indicate who stayed and when. It's going to be a question of if that ledger is still existing. There would have been.
And that's the thing. But and who knows the drifter people, right? Like if it was a bad night and someone came in, he didn't have money, and Mrs. Keene, that is just their name now. If she has such a good heart and she's let them in, they might not have even put it on the books.
Yeah.
But you don't know. It's a very strange reason. And then they shut it down to do renovations. And I haven't been able to go back since. So, and who knows what the renovations stirred up.
2 more weeks.
So I cannot wait to get back to this place. Now, I thought there was reports of a little boy who hangs out there.
I don't know. I don't
like what place
you're
have I like
you're obviously getting information that I don't have from somebody that I don't know.
Like I remember in my dream there was a young man, a young woman, and then a child. And I forget what the child's name was, but for some reason I remember it was like, what is this piece of hair doing? It drives me crazy. I thought it was you. I was like, yep, there's a little boy here. People hear him. Sometimes he's crying. Sometimes he's happy. He hangs out like in this foyer. But then also kind of just stuff. Then who the fuck am I talking about?
I have no idea.
Who are the Keens and who is this boy? I don't know. I apparently am not sure about anything.
Died young, but no.
I have no idea who this boy is. I want to say Timmy, Jimmy, Tommy. That always seems to be the name of the boy.
That's Wildwood there.
It's every friggin' house with a dead boy. Every time, that's his name. Because let's face it, back in the day, there was only like a few names and everyone was named that. John, Michael.
Yeah, Mary. I don't know. That's a good possibility. It could be. It could be that. I don't know.
I'm just going to start the rumor. I'm just going to do it.
Going to keep putting it out there till it comes true, right?
Exactly. Maybe it's from the land. There was a boy that died. He just hangs out. I don't know. Whatever.
I don't know either. But yeah.
There goes my whole like stories what I was going to be telling people on the next public investigation.
Don't listen to anything Kaz says. No.
Yeah, exactly. Just kidding, everyone. It's all bullshit.
Yeah. But we do have an investigation coming up here, a public one, but it's completely sold out, and it sold out in less than a week.
Oh my gosh. So fast.
Yeah, and there won't be another one until October, and I do know there's a lot of people that post on the Langs. They were questioning, you need to do more of these. You need to do more. So I kind of like sent them a little email saying, hey, if you ever want to do another one in the summer, you've got lots of interest. So we'll see. But it goes super fast. So if they don't do another one in the summer and they put the tickets up for sale in October for our next one, you need to be on it really quickly or else.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you're going to come to this Langs and do a public event, do not leave and not tell us. Because yeah,
Don't get super high and wander off and then end up in a
magical adventure.
yeah, a police search
Yeah.
party for their 4 hours.
Yeah, but at least I got to look at some OPP officers.
Oh,
All of them showed up because they had nothing else to do in Peterborough.
wow.
There was like 6 of them. It was great.
I wonder, like, when they finally found the guy, I wonder what happened to him. I mean, I don't know that they can press charges on him, but they probably.
I don't know what they did. All I know is when I talked to Ruth and Elizabeth the next day, they found him 4 hours later, and he had some magical journey, and he saw bears, and then he fell asleep on a bench in Keene.
How far did he make it?
To Keene, like, so, okay, so you know how we've got where the village is? If you go to the very end of the road, we always turn right to go home, right? Well,
Yeah.
he went left. So Keene is probably about 2 to 3 minutes down the street driving.
I was gonna say, like, that the road to the stop sign is quite long, and imagine how dark it is.
Yeah, well,
it is like dark there. How he didn't end up in that river, I'll never know. He is extremely fortunate, especially if you're seeing bears and leprechauns or whatever the hell he was doing. But I mean, yikes.
Yeah, it was bad. So, yeah, word of advice, don't leave a paranormal investigation, public one for that matter, without telling the people who are putting it on. Because, you know,
yeah,
at the end of the night, when someone comes up to you and says, I can't find my boyfriend, just a little, and then when that other person that's with that person says, I don't care if he ever comes back.
Lovely.
Yeah, kind of. Those red flags are flying high, but you know, anyways, enough with that. We talk about that during other events. Yeah, we really drill that into people, but anyways, that is Lang's Pioneer Village, everyone. Well, the gist of it. There's lots more to talk about that place. We could go on forever.
Yes, I was just gonna say, other than our investigations, just go there in general, because there, like you said, we only investigate 5 buildings. There are so many others. Like, there's an amazing church, and there's, I think, an authentic hearse outside. Like, it's incredible stuff, and you won't get to see them if you come to our public events. So go there and just check it out. And then you get to wander around. I don't know if you're by yourself. I don't really know how they do it, but you get to go to all of the buildings.
Yeah. So there's other buildings there too. Like there's a Fife cabin and the Ayotte cabin and blacksmith and the print shop and the schoolhouse and God, yeah, there's lots.
Yeah.
There's a cheese factory too, but it's literally just a barn.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I was reading it. Look, I was like, wait a second, there's a cheese factory? Yeah. So it's pretty cool. But we will post that information. We'll post a link to their website so you can go on and take a look. But if you have any questions about this episode or Lang's or Kaz's misinformation,
exactly.
You can send us an email at paranormalpodcast@gmail.com. That's PAREHNORMAL podcast@gmail.com. And you can find us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, and that's pretty much it. YouTube. We're on YouTube. You can watch this. So you just don't have to listen to our voices. You can see our faces too. Anyways, that's it for tonight.
Yeah.
Next week is about mediums. I had to think about that for a second because I was like, wait a second, well, what's next week? Yeah.
It's about crickets. Interesting.
And we have a special guest too, so you're going to want to tune in for that because this special guest we know a little bit about, but she doesn't know anything about us. So that should be very interesting.
Oh my God, I couldn't even hide that yawn.
No.
Sorry. I should. I don't know. What time is it?
Listen, us old folks need to go to bed. It's almost 9 o'clock. Yeah, it's 8:55.
Oh my God.
I know.
I thought it was still light outside.
It's pretty black out there.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah, that's probably why Mark poked his head in to
Oh,
be
yeah.
like,
It's been over an hour.
Well, okay.
Anyways, all right, guys. Have a great weekend. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever the hell it is. And yeah, we will see you next week or talk to you next.
Yes.
You'll see us, but we won't see you. All right,
Like
bye, everybody.
Bye.